Hello, I'm Eagle Gardens 1 on Instagram, and this is fucking talking shit, episode 427. Man, do I got a great Sunday episode with you. Much respect to Cali Connection. Swerve. It's nice to have you in the house. How you doing, my friend? You want to say hello and tell us how you're doing and where we can find you?
Yeah, man. How you doing? Hey, bro. Sorry that I bail so many damn times. Sorry that I've set you up so many times to leave you hanging. But I'm here and I'm glad to be here, man. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, man. I honestly do. I'm well, man. I can't complain. It's a Sunday night here in absolutely atrociously hot Southern California. And enjoying it. The Dodgers won today. So hey, I can't complain, man. It's been a good day.
Well, I don't give up easily, to be honest with you. I'm not one to give up easily. And this is one I've been wanting to do for a long time. So I'm glad you were able to find some time. So, hell yeah, that's what I say to this experience.
Nice, man.
Um, so, what are you smoking on? I see you you have some dabs there. Uh,
Yeah,
you
I
got in
got
the
an
can.
arraignment. Yeah, I got a I cut out my greens a while ago, like years and years ago, and basically been smoking dabs and whatnot. And then as of recent, been getting some really, really, really quality rosin in. So ironically enough, I'm smoking on some little rosin here and Spire. Let's see. Nope, no name. I don't know the name. So I can't tell you strain or anything like that. I can't promote anybody because it's not mine. So I can't help anybody with that. But that being said, I got some of that. I got some good fire BHO too here, So got a little assortment, Got to keep it lively. How about yourself, man? You smoke what are you smoking? See some good plants in the back.
Well, I'm trying. I'm trying over here. Tonight I'm smoking on some Velvet Punch, and I have some Tiger King that I'll be
Nice.
smoking on.
I love it. I
Both of
love
them.
the names. Though,
Well,
I like those names compared to some of the other names like people keep coming up with, but the naming game has to change. They got to get some. We get all these new breeders got to come up with some better names.
the Tiger King I popped. I gotta admit, Tiger King got popped just for the name, just for the name,
Yeah,
and it was I didn't even I didn't even know what the genetics were. It was sent to me from somebody that watches the show, White Feather Grown, and he sent me the Brandon Russ cross, the N05 cross that he had times the line, and then he sent me the Tiger King, and I was like, Tiger King, I just gotta pop that
I
shit.
mean we've got to see what
And
it is just for GP.
yeah, yeah, and it turned out it's weird how shit works out sometimes because I've been kind of on like the pine terps hunt, if you will, and that one wasn't even on the radar, like I said, for like pine or anything like that. Just threw it down, just for the name, for the shits of it, and here comes pine, like a pine berry out of the Tiger King. I
That's
was
cool.
like, wow, this is a win-win. So I'm super stoked to have it.
That's cool. Hey, you know what? Anytime you get something you like out of the seed that you pop, that's the best part. Be happy, be grateful, Especially if it's got a name of Tiger King. It's got a lot to live up to.
True that. True that. So what we do here basically is try to get a little bit of uh, a little bit of bio, I guess, on some of the people that we love in the cannabis industry. So I guess where we usually started out here is when was your first experience with cannabis? Do you mind telling us about the time Lady Cannabis come walking into your look?
Ironically enough, yeah. I the funny part is I actually just told the story not long ago because we're actually setting up to go back to this place in particular this summer. So it was kind of a ironic situation. So it's I guess I'm going to use the word irony multiple times right here because there's a lot of it. The first place I ever got stoned was actually in a place none other than dubbed Stony Creek. Had nothing to do with marijuana whatsoever. It's legitimately that. It's actually up in Sequoia National Forest here in California, and it's a place where they have these huge, massive trees. The General Sherman tree in particular is like the big dog on the block in that area. And it was my older neighbor. They were 17, I believe, because I think he was about 5 years older than me, and I was 12. And yeah, man, they that night everybody was asleep, and I was got my permission to spend the night in their tent, hang out with them for the night, and hotbox the tent. Next day, smoked again. And so yeah, I guess so, oddly enough and fittingly enough, filled with tons of irony, is the first place I ever got stoned was at Stony Creek, California, at a creek called Stony Creek. And it still exists here today. You could still go to it. We still go camping. It's a badass little campground in Sequoia National Forest here in California. So yeah, so aptly enough, that's kind of was my introduction to marijuana. And yeah, that was all of now, let's see, 29 years ago, man, because I'm old, but not that old. But like in the world of weed nowadays, like it's really kind of daunting to think of how long I've been in it. So I feel like I've aged immensely. But yeah, man, so that was it, man. That was the first time I ever got really like introduced to marijuana. So
There's actually a Stony Creek in chat right now.
that's awesome. See that, I'm sure there's probably plenty of those places, but yeah, specifically in Sequoia National Forest here in California. It's like Kings County, and yeah, it's all. So the reason why it's called that, I'm assuming, is because as you go down, it's nothing but granite and just massive walls of stone. And it's got this creek that runs through that has these badass like natural water slides and whatnot. So I'm assuming at some point that's probably related to the reason. But God only knows when they started naming shit and how they named it, why they named it. But we definitely get high up there, that's for sure. Or our best to get high up there because
So,
it's high altitude.
so did it just steamroll from there? Is it one of those things that you're like, yes, this just feels right. I must run with this.
Oh yeah, a hundred, like yeah, very much so, man. Like life changed not long after that. The parents ended up getting divorced, and everything that I knew as my entire upbringing had swiftly imploded and exploded on me. And life dramatically changed. So you have vices and you run to places, and yeah, man, just like a lot of us, good old Mary Jane was there. Mary was there, man. And the first couple sacks, there wasn't much. We didn't really think about it because it was from my older sister's boyfriend, and we'd all just that shit with the stems and seeds and whatnot. And all of a sudden plants started popping up on the property. We're like, oh shit, trying to rip stuff out in the front and stuff because, not realizing the fact, thinking it's just trash because they're like, just throw it away. So you're like, okay, well, I'll just take the seeds and throw them away on the lawn. Not realizing that shit, in the rose bushes, that shit gets watered and well, fucking marijuana plants start growing because it's a seed. you know, but yeah, man. So we just from there, just it kind of ran, and you know, I was fortunate enough for a while to to be private schooled, so I had access to some absolutely and utterly killer green, and we used to get some really bomb weed. And then after I got thrown out of there, made another good connection while I was doing some extra classes at the local junior college. So now I got to hang out with some college kids, and obviously, you know, high school and college kids never really mix until you give them a reason to mix, which is usually drugs. And yeah, so sure enough, found a good connect and had bomb ass marijuana. And then it just blossomed from there, man. Legitimately just kept going and made friends with, you know, one of our good friends. Ironically enough, he's basically, you know, he's an I guess in-law, you would say, because my older sister is married to his older brother. So, you know, but we've been best friends for a long time. And yeah, man, we used to get OG code. We used to get some stuff called the D originally. Then we got the Tange. And this was back in 97. And then we got NL5 skunk number 1 crosses. And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, we got some shit called Bubba. And then all of a sudden we just started getting OG, and that was in pretty much 97, 98. And once the OG hit, it was over from there, man. It was all we were smoking. And nobody had access to the cuts at that point in time out here, except for a very small group of people. And they weren't letting those cuts go, even for denominations of money. Like legitimately, I offered them $2,000 for a cut, and I think it was like 2,000. And because they got some heat and didn't want to give up the cut. We were like, now we'd rather kill it. And that was some of the best weed in the period that I've ever smoked. It was known as the OGK1, the OG knock you out one hit. You know, so, and it lived up to its name. It would legitimately drop people. Like, it was the funniest shit ever, including ourselves. There's times where you're just like, you know, but this was, you know, back in the 90s, man. So, you know, the late 90s. So, you know, early thousands, the marijuana was grown completely different than it is today. Way more fertilizer, way more bad shit for you. But the weed was taken care of so much better because they were legitimately charging so much money for it. $500 an ounce, $75 an eighth, you know, but it was the best weed you've ever fucking smoked, you know. And yeah, it just kept going from there. Yeah, it kept going from there, you know. And yeah, I would say like the real growing started to take place kind of in about 2003 is when shit really started to kind of transition. You know, that transition when all of a sudden you realize I could grow this shit and I don't have to spend any more money off of this shit, and I could be the one making all the money off of this shit, and I don't have to spend any more money off of this shit, you know. So you're smiling because you're like, yeah, that's why I grow. And yeah, man, and then just, you know, then just went from there. Just legitimately started started to learn how hard it was to get the marijuana that I was smoking and the genetics of those plants. And then finally, all of a sudden, it was a jump into a different world, playing on the online world on the boards. You know, back in the old days, you know, the Heaven Stairways, the original Overgrows, you know, or Overgrow, not Overgrows, the original Overgrow. And then when everybody jumped after Overgrow got shut down to IC Mag, you know, and then the battles from IC Mag, you know, in the early 2000s. That was when it was time to realize, like, okay, we're playing in the marijuana field now. That's it. There's no choice, you know. So yeah, but that's like probably pretty close to general synopsis of the timeline for me starting to smoke marijuana up until I got really serious about it, which is about 8 years after that. And then, you know, when I was about 21, 22, started to realize a little bit more, but I really didn't like kick into marijuana growing until, you know, my later 20s. Had to fuck up everywhere else first.
It's it seems pretty on par. You're right. That's pretty much one of the reasons why I started growing there. I had a weird kids kind of affected my journey a little bit with cannabis because I'm not gonna lie to anybody, Paul. You know, I hustled quite a bit of weed in my day. Cannabis, however you want to call it. And kids came
Weed.
into the picture and they were like, she was like, no, no more hustling. It's respectable. So actually, yeah, I had to straighten up for a time there, and then that killed. It was killing me, much like it does now. You know what I mean? After growing it so much, same shit, man. You go into a dispensary and you go, "Oh man, this is awful." You know, I know how this works. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? This is terrible.
Yeah.
And that's what it was like paying for it. So I got to a point where, uh, well, we were smoking fucking just regular commercial buds, and then the fad came around where we had a nice connect with uh, another gentleman that was growing, and then the good weed became standard. No more, no more mids. So we were, and that got to be expensive. After a little while of that, it was like, you know what, fuck this. If this be your taste, well, I'm taking up growing.
What when so when you say mids, like what mids were you guys getting? Were you guys getting like BC style bud, like the old Canadian BC buds, or were you guys getting more like Midwest type bud, Kentucky style? I'm always curious, so because you know, being here in Cali, we had a lot of fucking BC bud that came in. I was shipping tons of BC bud for a while.
Oh man. Well, around that time, it was still either pretty much brickweed or the loose buds if we could find it. If we could find the good stuff, it was a little bit of blueberry, a little Ep427. You know, that's the stuff we could find if we could find the good stuff. But man, when I talk mids, it was brickweed and some loose buds if
Some
you could
stress.
find the loose bud at the time. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
even at then, that's what was killing me because it was 80 and 100 for mids for me back then. I could pick up a zip of the brick for $80. I could get a loose for 100, and fucking I could get the good stuff for two.
Yeah,
You see the mass? I'm like, man, this is killing me. Man. I could go two
yeah,
for one. We were going 2 for 1 for this
yeah.
shit, and it quickly started adding up, and growing became a thing. And once it became, I even said too, once I get these lights, once I get this set up, I'm gonna do this
Once
for
you
the
get the
rest of
ball
my life.
going and all, did you realize how addicting it was going to be though?
No, I did not. I did not.
Right? And then it just turns into
That's one thing
fun.
it turns into fun, but it does so much more for you. I mean, it betters you as a person as you go along. I mean, this plant really works on you as you work on it. And I found since I'm just kind of getting off the salts and cocoa myself. You know what I mean? I started out naively in some fucking soil, and my grow was an attic grow. And I quickly noticed as I started stuffing more and more over there, watch the trusses bend, something lighter's got to come around. So I ended up working my way to cocoa and salts. I stayed in
Nice.
cocoa and salts for a long time. But now I've opened up the door, thanks to Mr. Smiley's Gardens, to organics. And man, the more I get into that, the deeper and deeper I get into that, man. It's yet a new phase in my growing and in my person, to be honest with you. So
Right. It teaches you patience, but it also gives you somebody to talk to work on your own self, like the weirdest part. I mean, it sounds so freaking it literally sounds crazy to say, but when you think about it, you walk in, hey ladies, how you guys today? You guys sleep well? Literally you walk in, you usually end up talking to your plants. It's just a natural thing as far as my eyes, as far as everybody that I've known. Like, for not everybody, but most people, they're always like, oh yeah, man, I can't. It's just, I feel like they're a part of me. So you just want to have a conversation with them. They can't talk back to you, but you feel like they can't because you feel like they reverberate the energy, But
you just said one of my favorite lines, my friend. You just said one of my favorite lines because, as we discussed pre-show, there I do have 3 daughters. So going into the garden, I used to always jokingly say to myself as I went in there, I love this place. These ladies don't talk back to me.
they're
These
the only
ladies
ladies
don't
that
talk back.
appreciate me. But the crazy part is, though, is they'll swing at you with the vengeance of a real one, though, when you fuck up or you don't feed them correctly or you give them the wrong, you get those huge swings, man, those swings. But yeah, it is a, yeah, man, it's a cool thing to know that you have somebody that's reliant on you without talking shit to you in a direct way.
If anything, they sit there and listen while I sit there and talk shit. They're like, yeah, let it all out. Just let it all out. We don't care.
Yeah. And we're not going to say anything back like you're crazy. You're not making any sense. It's all your fault. Why did you do this? There's none of that. It's more just exactly like you said, let it out, let it be. Just, we're here for you like you're here for us.
So when you started growing, was it indoors? Was it outdoors? I mean, things I'm jealous of you Cali guys, man. You guys get a little bit of advantage. You got the nice environment out there, so you have like the either or, you know, chance to start growing there. Either do both, you can do one or the other. But where did you start? Was it indoors, outdoors?
Um, True form finish, like to actually finish the plant start to finish, would be indoor. Yeah, it was under a good old 400 watt 400 watt HPS back in the day. They didn't, it was a pain in the ass to get to any good lights because they really didn't exist. So we had the high bays that we had access to. So like basically the HPS lights that you find in warehouses, that light big ass warehouses up that hang up there. So I got a 400 water, cut the reflector, hung it sideways so it faced down. Forgot what it was. It was some NL5 NL cross, and it was good, but that was like the tickle of the ear. Then from there, everything progressed. Like I kind of, not really could say I cheat or had a head start because I didn't really grow up in agriculture, but I was very fortunate that I come from a Italian family, and my father is from Italy. So when he came here, he managed to get a bigger plot of land, a whopping acre here in the smack in the middle of the city, which is a lot of room in the city, but not an insane amount. But we grew up growing tomatoes and zucchinis and red peppers and basil, and we grew up growing stuff. We had horses, and so it was like a little bit of the understanding on how to grow stuff from seed to fruit, and and then enjoying that. So it was always there, so, but I can't say it was necessarily, you know, one attributed to the other attributed, like that's why I grew marijuana or I fell into it. No, it was, kind of that aspect of things. But we're blessed here with the climate's hot as shit though, man. Right now, like we've been getting screwed. It's super hot, super dry. So like, you know, the outdoor ability here in SoCal it's possible. It's quality. It's a pain, but it's possible. It goes down. Hell yeah, it goes down. But it's a swing now compared to. But yeah, it was indoor. Indoor is the first gross. Always, always started indoor. Got lucky.
I can't believe you'd offer somebody some money for an amazing cut and they'd look at it and go, I'd rather kill it off. I mean, obviously, even back then, we understood the value in a fire strain. And the thought of even killing off a strain like that would be like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That surprised me to hear. I'd rather kill it off.
Nah, man. It like so. It was it was a pretty interesting scenario when he told me that, because we were buying a good amount from him and it was costing us. It was like just under $7,000 a pound at the time. And it was like 6,500. It was fucking ridiculous. But my God, the marrow, I mean, the OG was, like I said, some of the best weed that I've ever personally enjoyed in my life. I dream of having stuff like that still to this day. And there's a couple people out there that have quality just like that, and have those old school cuts. Some of the cuts that we had, unfortunately, I don't have them in my possession right now. They're at the farm, but not with me here. But yeah, so that being said, they it was different quality back then, man. But yeah, 6,500, 7 G's a P. That those plants are worth something, man. 2 G's is nothing for that. So I got it, but I was bummed out, but I understood it. But I ended up scoring the cuts. I think it was about 2 or 3 years later, anyways, to some trades, and then ended up trading other stuff from there. With the Chem family and Chem Dog, and so it worked out. It was meant to be. It was coming to me no matter what. I was too damn determined after that.
Well, when you hear it said like that, I can kind of understand because that's kind of how I got started too. Was basically the cat I was purchasing from. I he was foolish enough to we'd be smoking. It was like, check this out. We'd go check out the garden. Just became a thing. And eventually came to like, well, can I get a couple cuts of that? And the first time I was like, nah, fuck that, you crazy. And then as we talked, more about it, and it was like, oh, more about you can't do this type thing. Yeah, I'll give you a couple of them. Like he knew I was gonna fail, but I didn't fail. I didn't fail. Nor did I really come back. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
right. It's like, man, I wonder
I
what
had
happened to that guy. I wonder. He took the cuts and ran, baby. He learned how to grow.
Well, this is the funny thing about that is I wonder what became of him because this is the funny twist of the story. Uh, that cat was actually selling fucking some fire bud to get through medical school. And so now that cannabis has reached medical cannabis, I've always wondered you know, his stance, is he behind it? Is he that doctor? You know what I
Right.
mean? Is he that doctor? Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
But I'd like to see how that worked out for him. I'm sure he ended up at college with it. I mean, he was making it all, but yeah,
That's awesome.
that's what I got.
That's awesome. Fucking put himself through medical school, fucking growing weed. See, that's a fucking success story to marijuana, and that, I mean, you can't say that's not.
Oh, well, I think that goes for almost all of us that are in the cannabis industry in one way or another, man. You know, the whole fucking weed stoners are lazy and shit like that. That's got to be one of the biggest misstereotypes of them all, man. Everyone I
Yeah,
know that's in the cannabis are all hustlers, all
yeah,
hustlers. You know, they get
um,
shit done. They wake up. Most of them operating 4, 5, 6 hours of sleep tops.
yep. And you get accustomed to that, to the point where people wonder why you can't sleep for 8 hours. You know, people don't understand what it's like to all of a sudden have to rush to some other fucking address in your skivvies because the fucking reservoir is overflowing and water's coming out the front door, going down the street. People don't know what that fucking shit's like walking into a building or walking into your facility to an inch and a half of water spread out amongst fucking 4,000 square feet. You're like, how the fuck, where'd all this, how do we get rid of it? Yeah, man, 4 hours of sleep, plenty.
Oh man. For me, it's thank goodness I don't run reservoirs. I'm still a hand water, but for me, it's 4 hours of sleep, and I run like a dual shift over here. So this side of things, the HPS slash a little bit of LED side of things, run during at night, and then when these shut off, the other flower side of things, the LED side of things, pop on. So every morning, no matter what fucking time it is, if I've had 2 hours sleep, if I've had 3 hours sleep, when that alarm goes off, I have to get my ass up
Time to
and
work.
shut tents and open tents,
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yeah. See, I'm yeah, I'm curious to see how it's gonna all pan out for us coming up here. So we're in the middle of going through our licensing here in California for my property. I have some 10 acres that we're trying to get licensed, and it's all going to be basically greenhouse and fucking light depth, for the lack of a better term. um so it's always a interesting and fun experience if some of the hoops, which I'm not gonna lie, right out of the gate are most likely gonna end up without them. But pulling tarps, man, people don't realize it's the same shit as making sure that your timers are good. If you gotta wake up, you gotta get up, man. The sun don't play with you. If you gotta wake up before the sun to get the shit done, otherwise you're gonna cook. You better get that shit done before you cook. If you gotta fucking water those plants before they die because you fucking forgot the night before and you all of a sudden it's 3 o'clock in the morning, well, guess what? You're not going to bed until 5 o'clock because you gotta water those fucking plants. You know, people forget it. It's not a. This isn't a hobby. This is a lifestyle. This is life. This shit is life. When you start growing it and you start growing it more, then all of a sudden, yeah, all of a sudden your 5 plants turns into 15 plants, and your 15 plants turns into 15 moms, and 15 moms turns into 65 plants and 150 clones. And all of a sudden, your 15 moms, and all of a sudden, your building's not big enough, and all of a sudden, you need another house, and all of a sudden, you need a big garage. And that's just the way that it goes. It's life. It's the lifestyle. You know. I don't know a grower that can manage to stick in just a little tent and be content. That sounds awfully redundant, but growing in a tent, I I couldn't imagine how you could be just like staying in just a 4x4, you know, and that's it. You want to grow more. That's why you have how many?
Oh man, I definitely, I do. Well, there's four. Well, all together here behind me, there's 8 4x8 tents that I've surrounded in. So I
And you only
I
started
know
with
exactly.
one.
No, I actually started with the room there in the attic
Okay.
space.
Okay.
So the tents were something that came more up here when I made the move. I kept telling myself, yeah, I'm gonna build a pole barn. I'm gonna build a pole barn. And I don't know why I haven't built the pole barn yet. Kind of, but the tents keep coming. I need to build the pole barn.
Wait, you
I
haven't
missed the
built the
roof.
pole barn yet?
I haven't built the pole barn yet. In fact, for the longest time, if you go back and look at most of my older Instagrams, when I take on the tent, and in fact, you can probably look at now. My tent suck was my hashtag on almost every post. Tent suck. But they do. I've come to like them a little bit. The micro environments, you know, uh, because I'm a caregiver here in Michigan, and I do everything's pretty much me. So it's me, myself, 5 patients. And if I were to run things on an annual harvest, man, it would be way too hard for me to
Yeah, it'd
keep
be way
things on
too
track.
difficult.
So, being able to run the perpetual, like a tent or two, tent and a half
Yeah.
is usually what it works out to be, perfect. Just enough for me and my patients and not to be overwhelmed. So, I don't know. It works out.
No, man, that's awesome. Yeah, perpetuals. People don't realize perpetual is so much more efficient. The ability to just toss a plant into flower and harvest a plant, pull a plant out of flower and harvest it. It's inconvenient too. You know.
In fact, I actually was running some of your 818 headband in that original setup there. Uh, I miss that girl. I miss that whole room, that whole setup. But that was like 215, 2015. I had the headband in my garden.
Yeah, that's all. That's crazy to think that's like it feels so long ago, yet it's really not that long ago. But I mean, that's so when did you really kind of start like growing and whatnot? When did you kind of get into all of that?
It was like late 99, 2000. Like I
Right.
said, it seems like yesterday, but it's been a minute. I've
Right.
been pretty blessed at this point.
Badass.
So as we venture on with the grow there, what was your second runs like? How did your grow transition from that 400-watt light to the next phase in your journey there?
Pretty much, from there, I ended up moving, ended up growing in I ended up basically sequestered to a 4x4 tent and then moved again after that and was in a 4x8, excuse me, yeah, 4x8. And then I built a room, that a 2,000 watt cabinet room. That was kind of where everything, that was basically the changing point on everything, because that was when I really ended up kind of deciding to take it from just the initial hobby, so to speak, to the next phase, to stepping it up. I had more room. I was able to do clones. I was able to do all that. So, and I was trading online at that point in time, with a few local people. So I had a couple of cuts that other people were trying to access. So I had the original Romulan cut. Oh, God darn, what else? A couple other, oh, sorry, the Romulan and the original Purple Kush, the Garberville Purple Kush. And then basically what ended up happening from there is once I had one of those famed, it was on. Everybody was down to trade. So I basically had the floodgates open on me, and I started accessing their stuff. And then I traded the Purple Kush for the pre 98 Bubba. And it was the different cut, because at the time there was 3 different cuts roaming around here in Los Angeles. There's the purple Bubba, the green Bubba, and then this mint pheno Bubba. And all of them came from, and I have to give him respect too. So I have to shout him out, which is from Ken, Oregon Kid. Because at that time, so where I'm at in particular is 818 SFV. We're clearly known for OG Kush. This is the home of OG Kush. I'll sit there and look everybody dead in the face and laugh at them when they try to tell me elsewise, because I have definitive. Anyways, we go on a different tangent another day. And we had OG, and damn, now I'm gonna lose my train of thought. And got that, and kind of just really went from there with the OGs. Once I got the pre 98 Bubba trade, and I got the OG after trading the Purple Kush, that was when I started to trade even more online. But then I guess you could say be who I am. Very forward, very, I guess some people can say confrontational. Some people would say direct. I just say it's just kind of, I speak my mind, and I'm very, very forward. And I'd battle with Res Dog, because I traded a fellow individual out there online by the name of Jimmy Nitz. That's what his online persona is. I don't remember his seed brand. Might be Pisces, but I'm not positive. He's the one that did Motor Breath and a few other ones. And I traded with him to get access to the Chem family. So I traded the OGs and to get Chem. So I got Chem B, Chem Sister, Dog Days, Double Dog, and Chem 4. No, not Chem 4 from them. I got Chem 4 from another friend who unfortunately passed away. And sorry, it's just like a little tangent of, where it all kind of blossomed, basically, because that's where it all kind of, one spot just kind of blew up. And then, so once that trade happened, me and Res Dog would start arguing, because Res Dog would sit there and talk about how he had some bomb ass SFV OG, some bomb ass OG, some bomb ass OG. And then he would never say who it is from, knowing damn well that it was from me, because I'm the one that did the trade with Jimmy, and Jimmy gave me even his clone. So I had Res Dog's Super Silver Haze mother. I had Res Dog's Sour Diesel mother. I had Res Dog's, what else? Apollo 11. And, so once I had all of this shit, I started the whole enter into the world of, I guess you could say, breeding, because once me and Res Dog would battle, I kept getting kicked off of IC Mag, as Swerve, as Mr. X, as freaking every other goddamn scream name I could come up with. And Captain Crip and Grateful Head were two people that I approached and said, let me team in with you guys. I'll send you guys all these OG cuts and all these Cali cuts and all the elite cuts at the time, because I had them all. I had the entire Chem family. I had every OG cut that there was. I had every Bubba cut that there was that was worth it. I mean, I had everything. I had all of Res Dog's high end stuff, his mom's super stuff. I mean, I had a library at the time. This was 2004. And it was just kept kind of going and getting crazy from there. And then 2005, 2006 actually. I think it was about 2005. And then I hit up those two people. Captain Crip ended up saying, let's do it. And the other dude ran to Res Dog and told him what I said and how I was going to basically start creating seeds to battle him, because that was the whole joint. And not battle him, but basically put out my weed before he was able to put out my weed, my genetics, or the genetics that I sourced, through my connections, through my people here, and the people that I personally received the clones from, because at that time, everything except for the stuff that I got from Jimmy was pretty much handed to me by the person who was growing it, So, yeah, man. So, I don't know what the hell question and where it went. I just went off on a tangent there. Sorry. So, but that's kind of like the, I guess timelines of where, yeah, because it went pretty quick. That's why it seems like there's so much in such a small space. But yeah, in like a 3-year period of time, it literally just like skyrocketed. And then in 2008, I went to Amsterdam and it was on.
I mean, you've got a hell of a cannabis journey there. There's one question that I wanted to ask him from chat there. 4x4 wanted to know, can you ask him if he got clones from Yellow House in Hollywood? Thanks.
I never got received clones from Yellow House. We actually we knew who they were and whatnot. I personally never had any direct dealings with Yellow House. I had a few friends that did stock them though, that weren't really. Hold on, let me rephrase that. I had a few acquaintances that through the industry in particular. I want to drop names and stuff like that, but I hate when people kind of pull that kind of stuff. But he starts with a J. That's all I'll just say. But he was one of the people that had a few different dispensaries after the fact. He was one of the people that had a lot of the higher end, the PK, and the Hollywood PK, the OG and whatnot. So it was. But yeah, no, I never got anything personally from Yellow House, as far as I am aware.
Man, for such a big state, man, California, when it comes to the cannabis scene, seems to be like, is that accurate or what?
Well, the crazy thing is like I try to explain to people, it's the more you grow in the marijuana industry, and in both terms, I legitimately mean that, is in the more marijuana you grow, you ultimately end up kind of, you float towards other people that grow. You end up meeting other people that grow. You walk by somebody and that smell, and they know that smell, and you're like, wait a second, ooh, that smell, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, somebody's like, dude, good one. And all of a sudden it takes you a split second, then you dawns on you like, oh shit, I must fucking reek. Because you go in the next aisle and you smell yourself real quick. You're like, damn, I reek like motherfucking weed right now. Holy shit, that dude must grow. you know, that or at the fucking hydro store, etc. You know, but uh, damn man, so horrible. Lost the tangent.
That reminds me of like the beginning of the caregiver days. But running into the cat with the backpack and you could hear the jingle of the jar. You'd be like,
No, you know
ah.
who's dropping the butt off.
But so you started breeding there. So what were some of your first releases? What were the first ones you started to throw out there?
Oh, it was the SFV BX1 and the Pre-90 Bubba BX1. And then we released a purple OG, which then later became Blackwater. And then what else? The Chem Valley Kush, kind of like our original releases, basically. You know, we did the it was Sour OG to then learn that there was already a Sour OG out there from Oregon Kid. So then we changed it to 818 Headband. And then those kind of, that was pretty much the beginning of it, you know, because like I said, we had all of those things. So at that point in time, since I basically what happened was is I got pollen from Captain Crip. We joined forces. I basically joined up with Kryptonite Seeds, and he sent me some Afghani #1 pollen from Homegrown Fantasies out of Holland. And I forgot who was doing the breeding for them at the time. And that's kind of where it all started. Then I hit the SFV, took those seeds, pheno hunted, went back to the mom, and then off we went from there. Same with the Bubba. And then, you know, that was kind of like really the, I guess, the beginning of the seed companies, you know. And then, yeah, that was kind of that's really right there, the beginning of it all, until he screwed me over. Like, you know, come on, man, we all got these good stories. But yeah, so, you know, gave a whole bunch of seeds to him. He went to Amsterdam, gave them to everybody, you know, at the IC Mag 420 Cup, one of the first ones that Gypsy Nirvana did, and then Dutch Grown and all those people, you know. So way back when all the events were only in Holland, and Holland was the only place that you could do any of this shit, you know. And then he's, you know, that's kind of, after that I got screwed over on money, and then started the Cali connection, man. That was 2008.
Must have been nice to get over there and see Amsterdam and go through that experience, that phase in cannabis. That was, a very essential time for what's going on nowadays. You know what I mean? That's everything changed right after that. It seems like the strains started coming like crazy, and it seemed like it just the core of just kind of lost. Come on, really,
Well,
to be nice about it.
well, everything opened up. You know, it went from being a pretty private club to a semi-private club to a, well, as long as you're 21 and over, okay, well, 18 and over club. You know, like that's kind of really how the whole marijuana industry, changed on us. You know, it really did. You know, it used to be the hard, it used to be select people had certain this and that. And now everybody's got this growing, and everybody's growing that, and everybody can get this, and everybody has that. You know, it's kind of a wild, it changed, it changed on all of us. And it did it pretty quick too, because once people realize that they could open dispensaries in places and sell marijuana under a, technical sort of license thing, and it worked, the floodgates were open from there, man. We have to give those people the hell of a respect on that, and and the thank yous, because those were the ones that kind of really did a lot of the changing for us, because they were the ones that were blatantly selling the fucking weed in public. Come into my store, buy marijuana. I mean, let's think about that realistically. Like, these people were the ones that were down because of some random holistic doctor that said that your stress deserves marijuana, and you could get 40 ounces of marijuana a month. Signed such and such MD, who hasn't practiced in 15 years because they're 75 years old, but they have a freaking license still, and yeah, and it changed on us, I mean, that's the reality. Now with the more legalization, with all of this stuff, I mean, you come to California, man, you come to any of these places, you're talking about multi-million-dollar corporate. I mean, man, some of the real farms wish that they had the marijuana money to grow the goddamn, peppers and fruit that we actually eat and consume. Instead they're growing weed.
Shredder 911 in chat would like to know: do you still make the Deadhead OG, and which can be?
And what's ChemD?
No, which chem?
Oh, Chem 91. So that's the Chem 91, and yeah, we definitely make it still, and all of everything that we have that we make is available on our website. You can order it direct. We have not only the best pricing because it's direct, but it's direct. That, and I don't know. Most people don't really stock us or like to stock us because, being one of the original ones in the American seed market, there's a lot of arrows in our backs and a lot of, big fat target and, a whole bunch of knives and whatnot. But, it's, comes with leading the pack for a moment, and kind of knocking down certain barriers and knocking down certain walls and showing people that it was possible to really kind of create an American seed brand, and actually have it work and go somewhere and so most of our stuff is select places. So it's like our website, Attitude Seed Bank, Umbra. There's a good little list. We actually have to kind of refresh it, but there's still available. But yeah, man, we definitely make Deadhead, and it's the Chem 91. It's the Skunk VA. It's not I guess what they started to dub the Joe brand cut. But yeah.
Well, I appreciate all the early breeders that stuff their neck out here early in the game, started passing out them seeds. That's for sure. It helped get us all going. I was joking the other night, man, that hell, my mail still anything that comes through the fucking Chicago area mail there gets, well, that's about anything. That's like my mail district, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anything that comes through there for me, it comes with a red check. Still to this day from
That's
an
crazy.
attitude order way back in the day.
That's crazy.
It was.
They never forget,
as soon
man.
as
They
we could
never let
get
you go.
people throwing seeds here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, man.
yeah.
They never let you go, dude. That's crazy. They're gonna search. They're
So
gonna search our mail forever.
what are some of your current new? They do. It's funny. It's funny, but it's not. I know that's what that red check is. It's still that little heads up there. But what are you currently working on as far as gear, fire saying?
Quite a few different, like with the with our licensing that we're going through, we're shooting to have a fairly large ability to do some solid breeding. So right now down at the farm that we have partnered with, we got a pretty extensive laundry list of all the current fruit dessert platter strains is what I like to refer to them as, because it's all the new. I mean, it's literally like fucking dessert platters, gelatos, and not the gelatos, but like the Kush mints and the runts and the kids, all these wedding cakes and all the, pretty like it's crazy, how it's dramatically changed from our kind of the original time, when we get that skunk, man, where's that skunk? Now everybody's like, I need something sweet that's really kind of flavorful, doesn't give me that kind of high, but no, I'm all about getting high and I'm all about the gas and I'm all about that. So a lot of the stuff that we're doing is we're trying to intertwine a lot of the old good bomb ass gas fuel strains that we have. The original sour diesels, the Chem Ds, Chem 91s, that's the OGs, starting to kind of intertwine them and integrate them and see if we can exploit some of the trichrome content that some of the newer varieties make and create and or have, and bring some actual hit behind it instead of smoking something fucking over and over and over again and realizing that you're barely high at all, and then, giving it some balls basically, because 25% is great, but fuck that, dude. We need some like higher stuff, some 33s, 35s, 39s. Let's see if we can break the 40 barrier. That'd be kind of rad to see, like real, not all the terpenes and everything added in, like, the base number, not the lab really threw you a 4-1 because you hook them up and, they hook you up. Like we need some like legit shit, something that's quality. So, like we're going to and or trying to, I guess you could say, give the dessert platter a steroid shot, for lack of a better term.
That's a
horrible example, but
that's a hell of a shot, though.
I mean, man, what happened to the days when you used to get nugs that weighed 9 grams, 10 grams, 14 grams? A nug, a fucking nug. Now you get these little, like, the fuck, like, these little bullshits. I get it. People, aesthetically for the market, etc. But come on, you're telling me you don't want to, like, I mean, come on. Somebody should just do it. Ounce colas only, and just fucking put an ounce in a bag, 1 cola, 1 ounce in a bag, and fucking sell that bitch for $300 and see if people buy it. Nobody's tried it yet.
I actually, I don't think it's not out there. I think it's more like you said, it's aesthetics. You know what I mean? And I, as much as I appreciate a nice big bud like that, I think there's always going to be that asshole that pulls that bag out, looks at that, goes, snip, 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 snip. I didn't pay for this.
True, but I mean, you got to remember though, like, This is kind of like my, I guess you say, like my kind of odd mentality at times. But look at that dude. What is it, Nasare? The one guy, the Salpe guy. These people literally sell a freaking tomahawk steak that's covered in gold foil for like $600, $700, $1,000, and people are buying it up all damn day long. So I guess if the market can kind of maybe play with it for a split second, I think it might be an interesting avenue for somebody to exploit, because there's always somebody's gonna always want it. Somebody, come on, man. Some rapper out there is gonna want that shit and have that shit hung on his neck. Like, yeah, bro, this is the kind of weed that I smoke. Fucking some big ass fucking cola. What you got? Some little ass buds? You know, just a
I think
flex.
you're right. Yeah, I'm sure you're absolutely right. But for me, the only thing another reason I don't think you don't see that on a wider scale and it's the same reason I don't personally do the larger buds. It's a drying thing
Yeah.
as well. I don't have to worry about that large cola molding on me throughout the drying process. And then when I do kind of break it down and it's kind of molded, that's heartbreaking when you've got that 1 ounce cola that isn't dried perfectly. And
Nope. It's too big.
yeah, so I don't know. Just what I thought. I'm really crazy. So I seen in chat somebody wanting to know what you were doing with, I believe it was your Cali Gold line.
Cali Gold Line. So our Gold Line is basically just like our terp line. It's basically the dessert platter crossed with itself. So instead of crossing it with some of our varieties, we just intertwined it all and basically allowed people to not have to spend as much money on some of these packs compared to some of these other companies out there that charge three, four, five, six, seven, $800 a pack of seeds. you know so we went that route for the time being until we have the next availability to kind of really take the time to do some new, like really do some new lines. We're going to start some new reg seed lines. We got some auto lines that we've been releasing and or working on as well. It's kind of a few different avenues, with that, but it's kind of where that stands. you know
It's got to be tough to juggling all those strains, trying to keep the moms and continually putting out new strains of fire. Of course, the 10 acres, I'm sure, will make things a little bit easier, for sure. Hopefully, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does, or it will. Yes. You know, we're fortunate that some people that I've partnered with for a little while, I work with, they have a 100-acre farm. So like there's, they're an actual working farm. His son actually went through a catastrophic event, and because of that scenario, tried to figure out ways to help his son, and this was one of those ways that it actually worked to help his son. Since he was already an ag, kind of was a natural, not necessarily transition, but a natural addition. So a lot of those varieties, and everything, it's like we have everything ready to go, and it's a good head start, and just tore down, I guess, the inner parts of the building or the house that's on the property, and set up with some new Gavita LEDs. Thank you, Selena. And yeah, she's a great person when it comes to lights. So LEDs, Gavitas. She's awesome. And yeah, man. So it's right now, like I said, we're transitioning to the legal market. For our company to work in the let me rephrase that, the recreational market. That's what the 10 acres is for. It's we're, like I said, we're going through our licensing and everything. So we just did our agricultural survey, we just did our archaeological survey, and this is like the legitimate, when they say there's hoops and all these crazy gnarly stuff that you have to jump through and worry about and duck under and go around, and we had to worry about a burrowing owl and desert tortoises, man. Like the desert tortoise, okay, cool, I understand, it's in the desert, makes sense. But a burrowing owl, what the, like, what? And then like 4 or 5 endangered plants that may or may not be on the property or in the area, but they don't know for sure if they are in the area. They may or may not. And this is coming from the legal authorities. So it's like, if you don't even know what you're looking for necessarily, how the hell am I supposed to know what I'm looking for you to allow me to do this? So it's kind of wild to think, but yeah, we have 10 acres. We're going for 10,000 square feet of cultivation initially, and then hopefully be able to bump it up to almost 2.5 acres, and then 5,000 square feet of nursery, and then hopefully to bump that up to 20,000 square feet of nursery in the next roughly year. And it's almost all of its greenhouse. So we'll be running 30 by 50 greenhouses, and some of the larger ones will be 30 by the 120s. And then yeah, man, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's gonna be interesting because some of these bad boys, they're not gonna be light depths, so somebody going, we're gonna have to be out there, 8 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock in the morning, whatever, and pulling tarps across these huge ass bad boys. But it's gonna make for some good body workout for everybody.
Oh, that's going to be pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. So, is it going to be just for genetics? Are we just going to dedicate that just for breeding? Are we looking at, branded flower, or just clone, maybe licensed or certified clones as well? Is that something that could happen in the recreational market?
It's actually all of the above. Yeah. So basically what ended up happening is right before legalization, I decided to try to go full term and be a true seed to sale. So we started to release marijuana as well as extracts. And basically it was going good for a bit there. And then we unfortunately got raided. And, it was our second raid in like 4 years period of time. So but this one was a 10,000 square foot building that I had, and it was we had 120 lights going, and we had another 2-story structure within that we were building out of that we had already set up out of pallet racking. And yeah, man, so once we lost all of that, everything kind of got scattered for us, and we had to kind of, unfortunately, everything's had to stop, so we weren't able to continue forward. So after I was able to get my judicial diversion because I have MS and I'm whatnot, we were under a dispensary out here, so we were technically growing for them. And because of all of this, we I walked away with a 2-year suspended everything as long as I worked in a legal facility, which at 2000 or 2020, there was no legal facilities yet because the law had just changed. So they knew what they were doing. They knew that I couldn't get back into the market for another 2 years, even though we did internationally. Fortunately, I was able to sustain everything that way, and then partners out of the States and whatnot. And yeah, man, and we've got through that. Now we got the property. So now we got this. So yeah, we're releasing the marijuana again. We're going to release the fucking seeds again on the California market. It's going to be seeds on the market, seeds on the California rec market, marijuana on the California rec market, clones on the California rec market, clones on the California private rec market, seeds on the California private rec market, as well as, white label genetics. Since we have the property, if everything can just work out and go hopefully correctly, like I said, we're going to go from 10,000 square feet to we're going to apply for another additional upwards of 60,000 square feet of canopy space. And then another 15,000 square feet to 20,000 square feet of nursery canopy. So we're hoping by the end of 2022, going into 2023, we'll have about 70,000 square feet of marijuana, of recreational marijuana, and 20 to 25,000 square feet of recreational nursery. So we'll be doing breeding, everything, man. So yeah. So I'm excited about it, but I'm stressed out about it because it's just me. But I'm excited about it.
I'm actually kind of looking forward to kind of a certified type clone. To be honest with you, because of the way things are with breeding. Sorry, uh, and so many the influx, the back crosses, the this and the that. It would be nice to get certified breeder clones just to get some authenticity back into the community. Basically, yeah, I've got a pedigree. This came from this nursery that certifies that this is a true cut of whatever. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times anymore, man, half the stuff that's floating around, I don't even think it is what it is. You know what I mean? I think
Dead
it's
on.
just been, or even at that, somebody's popped, pack of seeds that just pass around, you know. And it was even worse back in the day. There's more free trading of genes currently, but back in the day, like we kind of started this up. I'd rather fucking kill this thing off, and that's the way it kind of was back in the day. It wasn't easily as traded, so
Yeah.
it'd be nice to see things get back to where you knew things were. That's all, you know. Uh, so hopefully it's something that can can come about sometime here.
It's just going to come out to basically people just being freaking honest about shit, man. Like it's so damn sad. Like people just OG Kush. Okay, well, what kind of OG Kush? Because now we know there's at least 5, 6 different varieties of OG Kush. Now with all the new varieties, there's like another 25 OG Kushes. Just call it what it is. Yeah, it's OG Kush, but it gives people the better understanding of what it is. It's a sour diesel. Okay, well, is it Res Dog sour diesel? Is it, Chem Dog sour diesel? Is it AJ sour diesel? What is it? Oh, it's Romulan. Okay, well, which Romulan? Okay, well, it's Green Crack. Okay, well, it's this. Okay, well, it's an Afghani. An Afghani from where? An Afghani from who? It's easier to decipher of a genetic lineage if you understand exactly that, where it came from, which is exactly the whole thing you're talking about, breeder clones and genetics. If you could get that kind of access, why not? Because that was the whole thing of what kind of, I guess you could say, is what made me popular to begin with. The whole swerves cuts was because I was sourcing all these breeders clones and I was releasing them to freaking everybody because I didn't care. Because the reality is yes, it was making me money, but the reality behind it all is the more it's out there, then you have a better chance of getting it back if you lose it. Because we've all been there when we have a genetic or a strain that once we lost it, that baby was gone. There's no way to get it back, you know? But if you put it out there and you gave it to a few people, and those people hopefully gave it to some people, and hopefully those people gave it to some people, yeah, it's that bitch is out there. Oh, yeah, your money's out there. But you know what? It ain't going to matter if it's out there because you grow it better than everybody else. It's your cut. You know, what are you worried that if they got that shit for and somebody else is going to grow it and sell it for cheaper? Cool. Let them buy some boo for cheaper. You're still selling the fire because you got it dialed in because it's your cut. You know, people, I get it. You know, we all get offended. We all get butthurt. I get it. But the reality is would you rather be butthurt because somebody would let your cut out or gave your cut to somebody else or your cut got to somebody else and you're butthurt? Or would you rather be sad and fucking depressed because that bitch is gone and you can't get it back now? At least being butthurt, you have a chance to get it back. But once it's gone, it's gone. Then what? You know? So it's like it's a different perspective when you think about it like that.
It is a little bit different perspective when you think about it like that. And then I usually get butthurt is when when it does get out of control. Because you know, every time that I've held a cut uh that I was really fond of, and that cut to me was 9 pound hammer. I had a nice tester version of Jinx's 9 pound hammer. It was pre-release and it was something special. You know, I know when it came to here to Michigan, Galactic Gardens got 3 packs. I received one of the 3 packs, and so I knew it was one of the first to be popped here in Michigan. So I was always fond of the cut. I always held it tight. I passed it to some friends that passed it along to everybody. And anybody that I've always passed it to, I always say, you know, at least ask me or tell me who you gave it to so I know kind of where it's gone and can verify that's my cup. You know what I mean? And so once it got out of control like that, I actually just let it go. I was like, yeah, everybody's got this fucking thing now.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I can be. People do get butthurt. People do get butthurt.
Oh man, trust me. I've watched some of the most. Let me rephrase that. I've watched some other breeders, not most anything, because scream in a horrendous tangent about that. I've also can say I've been a recipient of that as well. And we're familiar of who they are multiple times because there's all these videos and there's multiple videos of it online, which for some reason everybody thinks is like me getting called out, but I'm not too sure exactly how that factors. But the multiple times that me and my good friends over at the Cookies family and whatnot, you know, we saw what happened. They've succeeded, you know, it's been beneficial. But yeah, you know, once the cat's out the bag, there's nothing you could do except for you're either going to have to A, go hard in the paint with it, or B, just be over it and realize that shit is gone, man. It's done. It's out there. There's nothing you could do. So either A, you got to grow it better than everybody, or you got to grow way more of it than everybody. You know?
I like to think that I grow it better than most, but you're right. Yeah, I don't know. So out of all everything that you've grown or you produced, I should say produced. I know he's watching too, the American one. It's just a terrible question because as he put it, it's like I asked him which one of his favorite strains were at one point. He's like, "Which one of your favorite? Which one is your favorite kid?" And I was like, "Ooh, touche." So, but is there
Yeah.
one that stands out?
I mean, it depends. Like I'm pretty biased. Like I said, I love my OGs. There's something about my OGs that like some about that lemon fuel that I'm hella fond of, So it's I definitely lean towards that. Um, like right now, what's in the bag, type C, what's in the bag, like what I'm smoking on right now is, like what is this? Some fucking branded nonsense. We won't even, yeah. What the hell? I think this is Grape Punch, and then this is Cushman's. So it's like that's the kind of But if I had to choose from my selection, it would be probably an SFV or the Tahoe. Um, the purple chem. I keep getting teased hella crazy and just gnarly from back east from Rhode Island because they got a killer cut out there that just does everything amazing. It's unreal. I just have to get out there sometime. But like yeah, that's kind of where I would say is those are the bad boys. You could they all they're doing different attributes though, like I mean it just kind of depends on what your feeling is for the day because you might be more on the lemon side of the fence. You might want some lemon spice, like it's a lemon tart sounds good, you know or you might want something on the sweeter side, so you're like, let me get some black water because it'll taste really good, but it's not gonna get me super high, but it's gonna be really yummy. It just depends.
I like the OGs, but man, for the most part, man, they're a fine line for me, man. I actually it was what the third actual round with me. I had a nice OG, nice really OG coach, and that one was like the one that taught me a lesson about perpetual harvest and growing multiple shit because I grew that one. Well, for me, it was the decently large harvest of the OG Kush. But what it ended up being was like 4 months, excuse me, of a couch lock. You know what I mean? Through that fucking harvest. By the time I was done with that shit, I was like, man, fuck this. I gotta have other shit, man. I gotta get shit done, man. It's
Yeah,
been 4 months. I haven't got nothing done. I come home from work and I smoke myself to sleep, and
you
that's the
sell
end of the
yourself
fucking day.
stupid. Yep, that's that OG, man. That's what it does to you, dude. It knocks your dick in the dirt. It means you not want to do shit. Yeah, it's a special breed, man. That's what people don't realize with it. It's good. It's fire.
So, I mean, I've got a nice question for you. What question? I am actually working on. I have no, I have no thoughts about being yet another breeder or seed producer, I should say, or both. Both underline both. But we've had a gentleman since the show's gone on over the last year. Passed. We got to know has passed, from cancer since this whole thing went on. And we've decided to take two of his favorite strains, uh, put them together, and just pass them out for free amongst the close people in the community or anybody that'd like to throw it out to remember him. So basically, the two strains I have is Colombian by Northstar and Jack Skellington by the Dank.
Huh.
So what I'm kind of hoping to pass on or want to make sure carries through the strain is the pine turds that I'm already seeing in the Colombian. So should I try to take the Columbia male and smack it to the Jack Skellington to kind of keep some of the pine, or should I take Jack Skellington and try to smack it out to the Columbia?
Well, I mean, honest answer, both. But without the ability to do both, to be honest. So your male is going to pass on your THC content and your flavor. So your male, your female obviously already has its own terpene profile. You know, it's already going to have its natural scent. It's the best way to put it. You know, the male, when you do your breeding, the male is going to basically just enhance by adding its own scent to it and kind of dictating the route of the scent. So if your male is more on the spicier side of the fence, when you give it the stem rub, then naturally speaking, your female shall receive the similar, or the progeny will receive a similar pheno of the male that's going to have that kind of spice and that scent in comparison to the sweeter side. So yeah, you know, I would go more on North Stars. You know, two good companies, man. You know, I mean, sub. You know, and but how many times, anyways. And North Star, great people, love them. They're awesome. Cali, NorCal. I've known them for years. I mean, not necessarily personally, like, you know, I don't spend time with them type shit, but we've been around each other for years and talk, you know, every now and again, and great company, good people, you know. So I would definitely say Cumberland, right? Is that the name of it?
Columbia, yeah.
Colombian. Yeah.
It's good to know. Good to know. Always looking to take notes from the experts there. Again, I'm not looking to start a breeding company or nothing like that, but if I could do it right the first
There's.
time,
Hey man, even just creating, because that's all you're doing. You're creating. What's wrong with creating? What's wrong with practicing? I mean, isn't that what we do every time we don't have a kid? We're just practicing, right? Practice is gonna make perfect after a while, you know. So yeah, man. Either way, your goal is to sit there and test the theory out. You know, that's what I try to explain to people. So like when my biggest advice when it comes to like breeding and anything of that nature is know your end goal. Know what you want. Because if you know what you want here, you can put the building blocks together to create that. You know, if you're going in blind, like, I don't know what I want. I'm just going to cross, you know, great white shark to, you know, Bengali haze, and we're going to see what happens. You know, okay, you know, makes sense. You're just going to throw the hands up in the air and go from there, I guess. You know, but if you got specific directive, you know, a specific direction that you want to lead to or go to or head in, you know, it's going to be a little bit easier for you to make those decisions on what genetics, because you already kind of know the flavor profile that you want, so you can kind of, you know, steer in that direction opposed to, you know, getting on the wrong path, and you're like, I want spice, I got sweet. The fuck happened?
man, it takes so much time to necessarily work a strain properly too. So when you're working yours for the first round, I mean, are you actually gonna smack that mail to everything you have and then take notes, or are you automatically, you know, doing a pheno selection and winding it down to just a few? say even on my Colombian side, I got 6 gals in the initial pod. You know what I mean? And of course, I'd like to wind it down to one or two, before I think about, breeding any kind of male to it like that. Or is my silly in thinking that should I just let the male go on the 6 ladies?
I mean, in if you like in actuality, yeah, man. The reason why I would say yes is because it's going to give you the greater ability to search through larger progeny, you know. Now, where does it suck? It sucks because you might not have the ability to do that, and you might have more seeds and you know what to fucking do with. But that being said, you're giving yourself a fighting chance. You didn't sequester yourself. You didn't shortchange yourself. You know, that's why they try to say, like, when you do your breeding, a larger pool of candidates is always beneficial. You want to test out, through 100 different males. And unfortunately, the only way to test out that is to, well, take one male and pollinate it to the exact same female and do that 100 different times with 100 different, things. So, you know, find you're probably only going to end up with one or two different males, and then you're going to have to make a decision on if you're going to want to take two females, three females, separate them to one male, and then three females, separate them to another male. And then, unfortunately, if you did that, you would have to do the opposite then, in order to give yourself a true comparison. Is the reality of it. You're just giving yourself a greater chance at finding something that you want. Is it a lot more work? Yeah, it's a lot more work.
I got nothing but respect for people that take the time to do it right.
Yeah, man. People don't realize, like, some of these, popping a strain is making a seed and then popping it is cool. People, oh, I'm catching it. That's great. But like working that down and like taking that generational and going from there is a completely different scenario. Like, you have your first F1, and then you create, if you go male female, you create your F2s. That's where shit gets really interesting, because that's your Pandora's box. You're going to find everything in there. F2s are some of the most unstable plant like seeds that you ever would imagine, because it's now, at this point in time, you have some of everything in there, because the male that you chose is a it's a combination. You F1, you pick the F1 female, and you pick the F1 male. You make your F2s with that selection. You don't have a clue what you're going to get out of that. So you have to do the pheno hunts. You have to sit there and pick things out. Sometimes, people don't like to do the work, man. Because now think about it. Let's think about this, right? You're in an F2 stage that you're about to flower. So you've made your initial F1 cross, right? So you did your first cross. You started those. You found two phenos. So you've already now harvested two sets. Then now all of a sudden you're starting your F2 project. So now you have to flower those F1s, pollinate, cross. Now you have your F2 seeds, right? So then you have to start those F2 seeds, do your pheno hunt. So what, you're 3+ grows in, So what is that, 12 months, 15 months in? And you're only at the F2 stage. So that's the thing that people don't realize. And that's also why there's so many new seed companies out there because it's just easier to take some. Yes, I know I'm semi responsible too, but STS and just pollinate A and make some seeds, and here we go. You know,
And then in that work there too, it's not always a work of art that people are gonna tear down the door for either. It's there's a
I mean,
lot more work that goes into problem breeding.
how depressing is that? You spent 2.5 years making a strain that nobody wants to smoke because 2.5 years when you started it was when everything was popping and on fire. But 2.5 years later, when it was ready to go, the entire market changed in flavor. Now, what are you going to do?
You don't do nothing, you lose. That's what you do.
That's what I'm saying. You know,
So, are you looking to get out to some of these events now that things are opening up this year? Thankfully.
ironically enough, yeah, we are. We're actually going to be. We're going to kick it off with the High Times Cannabis Cup in Oklahoma and Tulsa in July, and then kind of go from there. We're going to try to do whenever they do a Michigan Cup, we'll come back to Michigan. We're trying to get out more and more. We got a Chicago CannaCon in September, so we'll be in Illinois. And then where else? Might have to, possibly, depending, but I don't think it's going to happen based off of the actual laws right now. But Product Earth in Birmingham, UK, I think it is, but it's somewhere in the United Kingdom in late August.
Hopefully
And
that you do well, my friend. Hopefully they're dying to get out there and grab some of that fire gear.
you know, some of like the outside industries that I'm familiar with, I've talked to them, and a couple of them have hosted some like actual real deal conventions, and they said that pretty much it's not like it's back to normal 100%, but people are definitely out there and wanting to get out there and wanting to go out and wanting to do things and get the hell out of their house and like get back into the swing of what was. So I'm confident that some of these shows that we're gonna do will be pretty busy and pretty packed. You know, I don't think they're gonna be the same like they used to. No, but I think moving forward, it's I 20. Let's be honest here, man. 2023 shit's gonna kind of be back to normal, right? Let's be dead honest here. 2022 is gonna be like we could finally start to travel the world again, because I know we can start to travel now, but you have to, it's hell of restricted and whatnot. And it's basically mainly for people who are vaccinated, for lack of a better term. So it's a lot easier for them. 2022 it should be an adventure, So there's gonna be a lot of events, but like the Boston Freedom Rally isn't, as far as I'm aware, is not really taking place. And if it is, it's going to be very, very hard to get a booth because it's going to be lottery by a lottery, So, a lot of these events are going to be picky and choosy. Our Hawaiian event that we usually do in February again, even though everybody that has to go there has to test negative, they still don't want to host and hold these larger these larger events, or gatherings, excuse me. Hang on 1 second.
I know the events here in Michigan keep steamrolling. Seems like almost like popcorn, just dying to happen here in Michigan.
Yeah, some of these events, they are definitely dying to kind of get going again. But the question is are the people dying to go to the events again? That's the major question. Because if they are, then you know it's going to be good for all the businesses and
I
everything.
think they are. I think. Well, I think people are kind of got that cabin fever thing going, and ever since this thing has been going, uh, they've done nothing but hype cannabis. You know what I mean? As far as recreation and medical use. So I think it's just got everybody's engines wrapped as far as getting out there, getting to some of these events. So hopefully, hopefully, so has there been a favorite event of yours over the past, over the, you know, shit, you've been to Amsterdam, you've been some places. Have you? Has there been a couple events that just stand out as, yeah, that's a good fucking year?
Man, I'm trying to think because like now that I think about it, we've been fortunate, man. I can't say that I could definitely say that I'm very lucky. I'm fortunate, and from the Amsterdam shows where some of the original cups were awesome because it was still outlaw, but it wasn't, and everyone was, doing some dumb shit, but doing some cool shit and some fun shit in Holland. Spanibus is a great show. I love Spain. I never made it to Prague for Canafest. That one I knew I got, we actually ended up getting sick. So we actually had to cancel the trip to there after the Cannabis Cup one year. And then we did treating yourself shows in Toronto, Canada. That was a fun one because Toronto, the GTA was really cool. Got to go up to Woodbridge and see all my crazy Italians up there and whatnot. So it was always pretty cool. And you know, sorry about that. No, like doing the treating yourself in Toronto. The shows in Denver are really cool, really awesome. The shows in Seattle was badass, man. The Cannabis Cups in Seattle that we did, those ones were some of the raddest ones because of it's in Seattle's a Puget Sound, so we would go fishing. While we were up there, we would go salmon fishing, and then that one was pretty bad. The California ones are cool. Colorado, the Oklahoma, the Boston Freedom Rally was rad. That one's really cool because of how old it is and what it really was. Um, Never made it to South America and whatnot, but of all of those, man, yeah, it's hard. Spain, man, Barcelona, Spanibus. Spannabis is, I'd probably say probably Spannabis is probably my most favorite one that I like going to and whatnot. But you know, yeah, it's crazy now. I'm thinking about it. It's just been all over the place.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine going to some of the events. I do imagine going to some of them. Like you can't imagine actually.
Yeah, man, it's like, this whole COVID shit's throwing everything off, so it should be pretty interesting to see how, I wouldn't say how the rebound's going to come back, because man, I watched a Dodger game today, against the Cubs, and there was 49, almost 50,000 people in attendance. So it's clear people want to get out, people are going to go places. So I think it's going to come roaring back. I don't see why it wouldn't. I mean, we're stoners, man. We literally would get on a plane and fly halfway across the world so we could go to this thing called a Canada's Cup at one point in time. So I'm pretty sure people will. I mean, hell, dude, I personally have been in Clio, Michigan, and I know somebody who came from, I think it was Wisconsin. I know there was some Dakotas in there, and Indiana's, and it's like, you guys drove that far, flew in from there, so I guess, yeah, it's that old adage, if you build it they will come. So we're gonna hope they come.
Yeah, you're right. I think they will come too. I think the industry is very hungry. So I overall, I'm a big fan of the Cubans community. Sometimes I get slightly let down about some of the negativity, but
we,
it's tough.
we didn't have to grow up. It's the best way to put it. None of us had to grow up, man. If you're in the cannabis industry, think about it. I mean, hell, man, I know some people that are literally in their 60s that, running around, with some 25, 28, 30-year-olds. And I'm like, I mean, hey, to each their own, but, it's life. It's a different way of life, We're counterculture. We managed to go mainstream though somehow. It was like when they said heavy metal's never gonna get anywhere, and then all of a sudden they were selling out stadiums and shit, and they couldn't figure out how. Records were selling. That's us. That's us. I mean, look, man, the freaking alcohol industry made alcoholic water, for fuck's sake. They have nowhere else to go now. They backed themselves into a wall. What are they gonna do? They just ionized water and fucking made it alcohol. They, not ionized water, but you know, they made hard seltzers. Water, essentially carbonated water, alcoholic. They have nowhere else to go now. There's only one other place. It's marijuana. Pharmaceuticals are done for. There's only one other place for pharmaceuticals. That's marijuana. You know?
I have a crazy thought on that whole aspect, to be honest with you, as far as pharmaceuticals and marijuana. I think that marijuana is and was kicking its ass, and then they went, how can we fight this battle?
Yeah.
Because we're gonna lose. We're gonna lose on the medical front. People are tired of our poisons. They see our game. It's a revolving door. One medicine needs another, needs another, needs another. And they went, I know what we
Schedule
can
one.
do. We'll yeah, we'll make it recreational legal. And then once it's recreational, we'll pull the plug, we'll pull the rug right out underneath the medical industry. There'll be no more homegrowns. And I think at that point, I believe the pharmaceutical market will already have, half their money into recreational cannabis and, and still be reeking in the poison money from the pharmaceutical industry with a win-win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's honestly what I think is going to happen. I hope not. I pray I'm wrong, but I'm
Trust me, I'm on a similar thought as you based on the simple fact of they already have their hands in the pockets of the old boys club. It's only a matter of time until they get into it and the alcohol industry gets into it, because they're the ones that have the multi-billion-dollar corporations that they could hand that governor, hand that senator, hand that congressman, a nice little fat, per diem. There you go. Make it happen for us. Once they get their way, yeah, it's gonna suck, but at the end of the day, it's not, it's still gonna be, I'm hoping, something that the general populace and the general people will be able to continue to do. Because at the end of the day, just because I could go buy tomatoes at the store doesn't mean I don't want to still try to grow my own tomatoes in my backyard. So why shouldn't I be able to try to grow my own marijuana? Why should it be illegal like growing nicotine or, growing tobacco? Even though technically growing tobacco isn't really illegal, it's just kind of illegal. But, so it makes no sense why we shouldn't be able to have our own freedoms. If people could carry guns without the fucking goddamn worrying of like anything, I mean, like, come on, like really now, there's got to be some type of logistics in some of this shit. You're telling me I can't smoke a fucking plant, but some asshole could walk around with a sidearm with no questions asked, but I can't smoke a joint? I mean, really? I can't smoke a joint? What the hell is a joint going to do? And I'm not hurting anybody. Just like the same person that's carrying the gun, he's not hurting anybody. That's why he has it. Now, if he hurts somebody, that's a different scenario. But he's there holding it. It's not hurting anybody. It's just him. If I'm smoking a joint, it's just me. I am not doing anything to anybody but me. Well, people don't like the smell. Some people might not like to look at somebody carrying a firearm, but that's okay. But somebody doesn't like a smell of something, and that's a problem. It's like it's a conflicting thing on so many scenarios and so many fronts where it's like, this is a fucking plant we're talking about. Just let the damn plant be free. Let everybody that's in the jail for this plant, let them all out. And then just like, let's be over this plant already. It's a freaking plant. Like, it's a weed. Who cares? It's not causing any more of an issue than exactly like I said. What is it? Making people annoyed of the smell? It's not harming anybody. You can't blame the cartels on the marijuana. You can't blame the marijuana on the cartels. The cartel's a cartel. They're going to sell drugs, period. It doesn't matter what kind of fucking drug it is. That's what they do. They're cartels. It's not like they're stamping tax returns for everybody. They're a freaking cartel. Their goal is to make money the easiest way possible. Doesn't matter from what. So make the plant legal. It's not the marijuana isn't creating the cartels, because that's what they blame it on. They blame it on that. They're like, oh, well, the cartels and their marijuana, the cartels and all the marijuana that they bring in. So make it legal. Then the cartels have no reason to bring any marijuana in because it's fucking legal. Everybody already has it. I mean,
for the most part, I almost think the cartels have moved on cannabis.
Are what?
Just they've moved on somewhat as far
Oh
as
yeah.
cannabis is.
Yeah, they're long gone from that. That's why I think it's hilarious how they still use that as an excuse, because it's like, dude, I'm pretty sure they're pretty sure they make way more money than $1,000 or $300 an ounce off of way other shit. You realize, why are they going to bring a truckload of 5 tons of marijuana for $250,000 when they could bring like 20 people for you know $500,000? It's like, I mean, it sounds so horrible, and I hate to use that kind of like comparison, but these are cartels we're talking about here. It's not like they care about the law. It's maximizing their dollars. Let the marijuana plant free. Let us grow this shit. I mean, there was 20 states now are rec. 12 states are rec, some shit. 15 states are rec.
That's why I'm an advocate to get everybody growing now. Everybody growing now. The more people we can get growing, the bigger the fight in the end. Because that's the thing too is, I think for almost everybody that I've talked to, either it be recreational use or even using it as a medicine. Once, as we talked about there, once you start that cultivation aspect of it, it's a game changer. It's a game changer. How you feel about the plant, how you feel about it being used, how it's being grown. I mean, everything changes after that, man. It's more people should be growing. And once that fire gets ignited, more and more people, they're not going to take it away. They're not going to take it.
They can't. It's too many.
What I've often said too, as far as it being the medical aspect of it, is, I had Nick Ryston on the other night, and I didn't say this with him because it was already a good interview, but the people that are actually growing it and are suffering from some type of ailment already feel subpar. I know that from having multiple injuries throughout my life, man. I had fucking shoulder injury that about took me out. It got to the point where the little things, you know what I mean? I can't fucking click that mouse. You know what I mean? It fucking hurts to reach out to do something. So when you can give them the opportunity to self heal, self medicate, you know what I mean? That first run that's completed and they're enjoying that medicine, that I can is more medicine than the actual medicine. You know what I mean? That
Mm-hmm.
empowerment of being able to do something for themselves, placebo effect or not. You know what I mean? As far as the healing aspect of it, it's gonna be there, and it's powerful. It's
Yeah.
powerful.
That's so basically what you're saying. That's kind of one of the main reasons why I jumped into the industry originally. So basically what happened was, for me, is I'm half blind, or have 5 eye diseases. And then, I just got tired of basically, growing up with, I've had 4 surgeries. I have an implant lens, so they actually pulled my lens out of my eye and replaced it with another lens. I've had holes cut in my eye. I've had shots in my eyeballs. I'd say, yeah, it's been some fun stuff. But so when I was able to finally get my marijuana card here in California, when I turned 18, I was like, hell yeah, I did it. And that was 98. And it was a different thing for me. Then when I started to kind of really get into the whole, grow, like really part of the what was becoming an industry, but it was still a very medical industry, like medical marijuana, the Prop 215. I, business was pretty decent. So, I'm an avid golfer. I love golf. So I was taking lessons with a pro. She actually was diagnosed with breast cancer. So we actually, would give her stuff to help her, I would. And, progressively, it would alleviate pain. It didn't cure her or anything, obviously, because she actually ended up passing away from it, unfortunately, but it was to alleviate the pain and whatnot. And it was a different feeling, man, when you look at somebody and they give you this look of like, not just relief, but the look of like, wow, I felt normal for a moment of time. Like I didn't remember I wasn't sick. I didn't have my issues, and then like, for me, my own personal, thing was, we did a show called was it the, damn, I don't remember it. INTCHE, International Cannabis and Hemp Expo in San Francisco. And like a week or so, maybe 3 weeks prior, had what I thought was sciatica. Didn't think anything of it. The next morning I woke up, my right leg was, sciatica. My right leg had the same feeling. So, not being the smartest I am, I went and played golf. Played pretty good. Couldn't feel anything from my waist down. Like literally, it was legitimately numb. Then I felt this like squeezing sensation around my waist, like I had a girdle on, but from the inside, I was just getting tighter and tighter. So I finished the round of golf, called my doctor, and explained to her what happened, like what I was feeling. And then her first reply to me was, "Can you walk right now?" And I was like, "Excuse me?" I was like, "Yeah, I literally just played golf. Why?" And then she said this phrase that I'm never going to forget in my life. So I was 3 months away from turning 30. And the phrase that she said, what she said to me is, "What you just described to me was a stroke. So can you walk?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I mean, like, wait, what?" I'm like, "I'm not even 30 yet, and you just used the term stroke with me?" She goes, "I need you to come into the hospital tomorrow and see me, 9 o'clock. I'll see you in the morning." So it's like 9 o'clock. I got there. She did a couple of things, walked me over to the ER. A neurologist came in, did a couple of things, off to an MRI. Before you know it, I was admitted in the hospital for 9 days. Got out. I had this thing called transverse myelitis, which is basically multiple sclerosis in one shot. Got out. I did the show, the INTCHE show in San Francisco. Relapsed, ended up back in the hospital. And then since that day forward, like a year later, and moving on to present, I actually have multiple sclerosis. I was diagnosed with MS in like 2012, give or take. It's like 2011, 2012, So the thing is with all of this is it was like a selfish thing because it actually worked. And when you hear people tell you that, man, I smoked what you gave me, or I rubbed the balm on that you gave me, or I sprayed that tincture on, and I was able to walk, or I was able to use my hands, I was able to saw, or able to write, able to garden, able to cook, able to wash my own balls. Like, you're giving people their life back. It's different at that point in time. Now it changed, and that's what really kind of thrusted me even more into as deep as I got into the marijuana industry, was because it actually was helping people and it actually made a difference in people's lives, you know? So that was kind of like a turning point to see that and to realize that. Because yeah, we all love getting high. Don't get me wrong. I fucking love a nice fat dab after a fucking stressful day. But if you think about it, are you getting high or are you just fucking trying to calm your nerves and relax and just limit your fucking output of tension, etc. You know? So is it medicating? Yes. Is it playing a benefit in your life? Yeah. Is it a detriment in your life? No, not really. You know? So that's like kind of a big passion of what led me even more so and keeps me around to do is because, yeah, it actually helps people, man. This shit does allow people a different life, the ability to have a life.
It does change you. That honestly, that's kind of when things change for me. I've had a long, long, long journey with cannabis. When I was able to do it legally and start taking on patients, I did it because I was already cultivating it. It was an easy way to keep things going and going legal. But what I found was exactly what you're saying was an impact of cancer patients, other people that actually used it as a medicine, and were more importantly, where it actually hit home the hardest was the people using it to get off the opiates, the pharmaceutical bullshit.
Yeah, the
I
farmies, man.
myself have lost my mother and a whole slew of friends and family from pain pill, pharmaceutical addiction. And once I found out that cannabis could help me fight that fight and quit losing people on that level, I was all. I was all. And then a little further down the road, 15, uh, well, 17, I started being a seed representative here for some pool. And then I started doing the road work, actually traveling and meeting people firsthand because I knew that I dealt with the frustration of sending money in the mail, hoping I was going to get seeds.
Right.
And if I did get the seeds, if I was going to make my fucking self on the list. That was a long time ago. But what fired me up was traveling. I didn't. If somebody didn't want to do that, you know what I mean, go through the process, I'd be like, okay, where are you at? I'll work it in. I've ridden up and down the state so many times for fucking 5, 10 packs of seeds, hours of drive just to hear the stories. And the stories when I got there always made the trip worth it. You know what I
Right.
mean? I need this for my medicine. And it was like, man, I was, I always left feeling guilty that I just couldn't just leave them there on the table and just walk away because I knew that's what they needed. All it did was fuel gave more fuel to the fire. You know what I mean? More just to the cause. And as I've gone, I've seen nothing but that case. And, cannabis does has a powerful impact as a medicine. And that's the thing of it is, it can't. For some people, it does save lives if you're able to jump on it early enough. But what it does, even if it doesn't save, it it offers what you said, just as you said, it offers a quality of life. You know what I mean? Yeah, maybe I can't make it to the end of my days, but if I can just enjoy the days pain free, smile and be with my loved ones, well,
Right?
that's gold. That's
I mean,
gold.
right?
That's gold. So I mean, having been dealt that's a pretty big blow. MS is no joke, my friend. That's serious shit, man. I mean, how does it help you? I mean, do you find comfort with through Canvas with your MS?
Oh yeah, man. Like yeah, I get a lot of leg tremors. You know, from the beginning, it wasn't as crazy as it's gotten over the last couple of years. Like the last 2 years in particular has been pretty difficult in that aspect. My drop leg has gotten even worse. The medication that I'm on, that they put me on, is called Rituxan. It's basically used for cancer, you know, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and non-cystic lymphoma and non-Hodgkin's leukemia or something like that. Or you know, so it's not really made for MS, but I'm only allowed to have it for 2.5 years, and then I have to take a couple of year break because it makes me toxic, you know, and wipes my fucking memory clean. Like it's fucked up. Like every time I take the damn medicine, like I it's not that I'll forget. It's just that I couldn't tell you certain shit out of stuff that I've done and all this. Like it's kind of crazy, and it's legal. It's that shit where you see on TV where it's like may cause heart attack, blindness, anal leakage, stroke, you know, severe, you know, hemorrhaging, bleeding out the eyes and orifices, and you're like, this is legal, but marijuana is not. You know, but yeah, man, you know, you just push through, man. You do what you can in terms of medicating to allow yourself to be able to be comfortable. You know, I don't sit there and get fucking stoned out my gourd. I try. It doesn't really work because I've been smoking for so long. I just think I've hit a threshold where it just is what it is. But for the most part, you know, when it comes to a lot of the alleviation aspects of it, yeah, man, it definitely does work. It definitely does help. You know, I would rather smoke some weed than have them give me a shot. You know, like my mom's got MS. She has to give herself a shot every Thursday and has for the last like 20 fucking years.
So that makes me a little curious. Does mom know what you do, and is she
Oh
not
yeah,
open
totally.
to
No,
the world of cannabis?
she's open to the world of cannabis. She knows what I do, but she's she's just not at all interested in trying it at all. My dad, on the other hand, he's like, you know, he's old school Italian. So you know, he won't smoke that shit. Not even like he had no fucking way in hell. But I'll give him some balm for his hands because you know he's works construction, so he literally has like sausages for fingers. So his hands are always hurting him. So I give him some CBD lotion, and you know, at first he's like, "So whatever, stuff not gonna do anything." Oh, my hands really hurt. I put some of that stuff on to see. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't. They felt great after that. I don't. What was that? Yeah, exactly. What was that? I kept the shit that I've been telling you about. What was that? It works, doesn't it? Well, I mean, I don't know if I really know if it works, but it definitely did something. You know, and that's just, you know. So yeah, they very much so know. It's just again, like you know, my dad's old school Italian. You know, born and raised in Italy. You know, my mom was born in Chicago, but you know, everybody in my family is from Italy, except for us. You know, I consider myself first gen because of my dad. You know, so it's like, but all of my cousins, like, I couldn't speak to my great grandma, like, because she didn't speak English, she only spoke Italian. You know, so you know, they're cool with it. You know, they're cool with it, but it's not. My dad would have preferred if I would have done construction and then would have taken over his company and would have maybe done a better job at doing the other construction type of hard labor jobs instead of owning my own company that I brought worldwide. Which is the weirdest thing, but hey, parents are parents, man.
Yeah. So, do you think that would change as some of their friends possibly? That's usually when you see the friend, the change in the older generation. They're like, "Oh yeah, my friend Sally's using it now. She's off all her scripts," and you know what I mean. It
Yep.
isn't so bad when they've seen it like that. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah, it definitely like for like my dad, it's my more or less for a moment was my stepmom, but then she ended up having thyroid issues and started getting sick and starting to need it too. So then I would give her the cream and she would use that and she'd be like, "Oh my God, I don't understand." And I'm like, "This is what I've been trying to tell you guys forever, but you would take my bongs and throw that shit against the wall." God. Yeah, but yeah. Yeah, but
it's 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 beautiful though to see it come full circle like that though, from smash the balls on the wall to somebody could use that.
well, see, it got to the point where my dad, because does construction, so that was I have to say, like, because of him and because of that, each time I got raided, when they came in to inspect the place, they were always looking at me like, "I don't understand. Everything here is up to code. How did you manage to how do you know this kind of stuff?" And I'm thinking to myself, like, it's because my dad does this shit for a living. Like, I'm fortunate that he knows the code, so I could build this shit in the city, and you guys aren't gonna throw me a fucking $10,000 fine for being out of code and this, that, and the other thing. So like, he's been in the grows, he sees all that, he's seen it. He just doesn't understand it, so he's not willing to like work with me and like invest in anything like that because he just doesn't understand it according to him. But I think when I get this 10-acre property going and everything's rocking and rolling and things are doing well, I think I might be able to convince him to at least check it out and be like, "Come on down, Price is Right action, let's go."
Hopefully he comes around someday. That's one thing that I love about the state of the cannabis industry currently. I wouldn't push my girls into cannabis, but if it could be a multi-generational thing, I'd be all over that shit. I'd fucking teach them everything I do. I have one in chat right now, to be honest with you. One of my girls is in chat right
Yeah,
now.
that's cool. Yeah, my kids are young, man. I'm the opposite side. I got two young little ones, but that was after the whole MS thing. I was like, "Yo, all right, I need to have a kid. Need to procreate because I'd rather be able to do things than not be able to do things before I'm forced my hand or my hand is forced, you know." But so I don't know, like, yeah, I don't. I think by time my kid realizes, like, probably he'll be in high school, so it'll probably be a couple more years. And I don't even think then it'll even really. I think then he'll more associate that random smell that he probably catches a random whiff of every random time, walking by my room. But I don't really foresee too much of a detriment with that. But yeah, man, I wish my dad would come around and would be more into it. So that'd be cool as hell, man. Like you and your daughter working together. Like I always find that pretty, you know, pretty neat that the parent, you know, you know, is understanding about the marijuana sector and isn't closed off to it because it's marijuana.
I'd say in this case, and as far as me and one of my daughters, I've actually had two out of three, and I don't regret that at all. To be honest with you, brother, I'm proud to say 2 out of 3 use cannabis. To be honest with you, they could go down a different road or whatever, but in the aspect of like with the one that's in chat now, let's see, uh, cannabis brought us closer together. I mean, if it worked for cannabis, who knows? Who knows? But I mean, she had a trying time, a car accident which brought her PTSD. Bad. I mean, bad. Pharmaceutical drugs that she was offered became a huge problem as far as the effects. That's what I was talking about earlier too, man. It's those side effects, man. It'd be one thing if the medicine actually did what the medicine does, but 9 times out of 10, it comes with 10 side effects that give you 10 more drugs. Oh, blood pressure, this, that. Okay, yeah, to make this work, you need this entourage effect of the 10. For fuck
Nope.
the entourage effect with cannabis. But that shit was fucking killing her, man. And thank God it was cannabis CBD that helped her deal with the PTSD that came from the car accident. If it wouldn't been for that, who knows where we would have been with that. And then even further, as the show kind of took off, uh, it's I was always a weed nerd, always a weed nerd, to be honest with you. And as she was growing up and my other kids were growing up, they'd watch me, watch some, be a part of that little community, and didn't understand. You know what I mean? Then once the cannabis started helping her and she started seeing this community, you know, uh, it made her a weed nerd. So those cold mornings prior to the show that we would normally walk by each other half the day, not saying anything, drifting apart. After the show, after being welcomed into the community, it was all about the show. I honestly think secretly, I don't think she'd say it publicly to my face, but I think she's one of the biggest fans. Hopefully she is. But she would come, those quiet mornings were no more. You know what I mean? She's a weed nerd now. She's not necessarily a heavy smoker, but through cannabis, through the community, it's brought us way closer together, way closer together. And I had to look at it how you made, but I had cannabis to thank for that. You know what I mean? Good, bad, whatever. But I have a lot to thank for cannabis.
Yeah, but I'm on the same page as you in that. Not in that exact reason, but yeah, man. If it wasn't for cannabis, God only knows where the fuck I'd be. That's just being real.
So is dabs your main form of ingestion there?
Is what?
Is dabs your main form of ingestion? Are you straight?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can't really eat it. I fall asleep. Smoking weed just smells too much. Because like I said, my son's 10, my daughter's 5. So it's like they don't live with me, but when they do come over, it's like I do my best, to I'm still think it's too early. I know everybody has their own opinion, but personally I think it's just too early that my son knows that I smoke anything and anything of that nature, you know. But that's just me, my own person. And my thought. Um, because I always grew up with my grandma. She used to smoke, and then we used to get on her case about it because we didn't like seeing her smoke. So I don't want my son to like assume or assimilate, people smoking cigarettes and whatnot to me and smoking weed, and or dabs, because it's not the same. It's clearly not. Now if I was, smoking joints all the time, understandable, but it just the amount of resin that we would have that would just it's still the same. Don't get me wrong. I get it. There's still dabs still get in and whatnot, but come on, you have to admit you've cleaned your bong. It's all beautiful. It's all crystal clear. You snap that first bowl, that fucking downstem turns black. You're like, what the hell? That shit was just clear. And then you smoke another one, and like 3 bowls later, your downstem's fucking dirty and black, and you just don't realize. But then, it's not necessarily just ash, but it's that resin, and that resin is building up in your lungs too. It's like you don't think about that. But it's the same thing with the dabs. That shit still builds up in your lungs too. It's just I personally just don't think it's as much, because when you would take fat dabs, you got more spit around your mouth. When you take a fat bong load, and you wipe the corners of your mouth, you usually have resin right there after you take a bong load. So it's like, if there's resin on my mouth right here, that shit's definitely gone down in my lungs, and I have like black lungs anyways because the amount of weed I've smoked. But let's just fill it up with wax instead. Fuck it. It's all bad for me anyways, right? But at the same time, ain't nothing changed, man. Ain't nothing different. I mean, how long have you been smoking weed? See?
A long time.
You still around?
Time.
You still around? We good. I've been smoking weed for a long time too. I mean, what the fuck? Who cares how it's ingested? That shit, whatever I think is gonna get you high the fastest, fucking high five and do it.
Very nice.
Some people prefer those pens, and they only smoke pens. Some people only smoke joints. Some people only smoke bong loads. Some people only smoke dabs. Some people only smoke bong loads with dabs on top of it. It's to each their own.
Long as they're using it, or long, well, it all binds, no matter how it's being consumed. It all binds.
Yeah, totally.
So, how long do you? Well, I'm just curious, just out of curiosity's sake, because I enjoy the dabs, but I can't do them sustainably. I don't know. I see what it does to my rig. To be honest with you, that's the drawback. Is I see what it does to my rig. I go, wow, can be that doing that to my lungs? But like you said, that a joint's not that much different because, as of late, where the hell they go? Uh, I've been actually I roll some pretty good sized joints. Usually use this roller.
Yeah.
But I don't like the paper filters. As I burn them down, I'm like, man, as it gets closer and closer, no matter what I'm using for that little tip, I'm like, ugh. And I always feel like I'm screwing myself out of, I what's left there. I'm cheap like that. I'm cheap like that. I'm not even afraid to admit that.
I love it.
So the other day, I actually had a little dab straw. This is half the end of the dab straw. The other half of this was silicone, and it's same kind of thing. I didn't like it because I know once the silicone gets to a certain temperature, it kind of off gases too. So I stopped using it. I was like, ugh. And I was getting ready to throw it out. And then the cheap fucker in me went, maybe you can use that glass thing for something. I pulled it out. I was like, huh. It actually holds on the inside because it kind of goes down. It's like an hourglass, you know what I mean? It
Awesome.
goes in and out. Kind of,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm a big fan of like toke stones. Like, man, a pre-roll, a joint, a pre-roll roller
Yeah.
joint fits in there perfect. Then I got smoking like all fancy, like a toke stone. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
this works
dude.
pretty well.
And it doesn't get your
I
hand all
dropped
dirty.
it. It works perfect in here. It works perfect for just wrap the paper around it for like a blunt tip. I went into the
Awesome.
tobacco shop the other day because I like to pre-roll for my rides or whatever. And bought a few tips. They're like, "What color?" I'm like, "I don't give a shit. I just want them for the tips." And I told them what I want them for. And it's pretty good when you can get the tobacco shop guy to go, "That's a pretty good idea right there."
Yeah.
But what I'm getting to as I've been smoking, as you can see, man, I keep this actually a dispensary thing full of alcohol. So
Smart.
as I like roll a few, I'll pull a new one out, shake it off, give it a quick little rinse, roll a new one. But you know, I'm looking at that the other day and go, wow, any other time that would be straight in my lungs. Is that good or bad? But I kind of like, I don't know, it can't be that bad. Same thing we're talking about. I've been
Yeah.
sucking it down for years. But
Been doing it for years. That's great.
so it's amazing to see how much you can catch in that little apparatus
Yeah,
though,
man.
with no like filter.
That's crazy.
Well, we're
That's
going on like 3 hours almost here. I just wanted to give a quick
oh,
check in
shit.
and see how we're doing.
Well, I was
We're
gonna say
trying to break guests.
probably call it an evening, man, because I am after like kind of munch on something to eat and then take crash out for the night. But I appreciate you having me on, man. I honestly truly do. And anything you need, just obviously hit me up. If you need any seeds, etc. And then we'll let me get some other information from you back end wise. See if we can't do a little giveaway for the people that listen to the show and whatnot. Hook some
That'd
people
be
up,
that'd
some
be
gear
pretty
and whatnot.
fucking cool. I
Yeah,
think.
dude, totally. Yeah, we yeah, totally. That's what I'm saying. Obviously, right here, probably not the easiest, but via email, via text, etc. That's easy, simple, and get you some gear, get you personally set up, get your guests, get some gear for them, some giveaways, and try to get 20, 30 people some stuff, let them rock and roll, however many, you never know. And then let's do maybe we'll discuss some other stuff to do some type of cool collaboration and whatnot in the future.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. So I'd like to just two things before you get going. Uh, I'd like to explain to you a couple things. One of them is I basically pre-show. I told you that most nights I have been slacking a little bit. I feel guilty about that, but most nights, if I'm lucky enough to have a guest, we kick it off at 11:30, and it does usually go till 4:20. If it doesn't, the guest doesn't take me till 4:20. What usually will happen and what will happen this evening is I'll take a quick break and then I fire up. If you look down the channel, there's a couple versions of the show. I'll fire up part two, which is the wormhole, and that the wormhole is like gets me through the rest of the night. There's one night a week that is dedicated firmly to the wormhole, and that's Mondays. But what I'm getting to, good sir, is the invitation that I have sent you is the invitation. The wormhole is basically open to all past guests. Uh, Anybody that wants to jump on, you see it on, happen to get a notification where it's a wormhole. We're talking about something that interests you, or you just want to come hang out. You do not need an invitation. Just come on, click the link,
Nice.
go hang out with us. Uh, Always welcome. You're always welcome.
Appreciate
So
appreciate that.
I'd just like to make that known. And so thank you for that. And hopefully you do take me up on that. The other thing I'd like to please get from you before you go is a crazy thing that I have done from day one. And it's kind of like the old school radio kind of artist radio identification type thing. So basically, in my words, if it were me on your side, what I'm looking for is, hey, this is Eagle, and I'm on fucking talking shit with Eagle episode 427. You can do what you want with it. That's the base what I'm looking for. So you can do what you want. This would be pretty much a commercial for your episode. So anytime you're ready, my friend, give me a sound bite for this episode.
It's the name of the show's it's fucking talking shit with Eagle, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ready? Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
What's up, guys? How you doing? This is Swerve from the Cali Connection C Company. I'm here fucking talking shit with Eagle right now. You guys need to check this episode out because, well, frankly, we're fucking talking some shit. But it's good shit. It's bad shit. Well, there's a lot of growing shit, a lot of shit. And let me explain something to you. If you want to grow some bomb shit, well, there's only one place to go. Well, there's probably a bunch of places that you could go actually, because there's stores everywhere now. But the Cali Connection C code, the CaliConnection.com. Come check us out. Come check this show out. Come check and listen to this out, man. Fucking talking shit with Eagle. Let's go.
Hell yeah. Thank you, my friend. It was well worth the wait. And hopefully I can get you back on very soon. And again, as we talked about before the show and after, as it was going on, time goes by quick.
Yes, it
It
does, man.
is one of the most precious things that we have. We can't put a dollar amount on it. So thank you very much for taking some time out for me and giving it to me and the community. I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, man, I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate the persistence as well. And once again, man, I'm sorry for back and forth and not being able to schedule it, not being able to do it. But I'm glad that we got to sit down and talk. And yeah, man, we'll do it again soon. We'll chat it up and wrap it up soon. But like I said, shoot me your email, and then I'll shoot you obviously I'll shoot you back an email and whatnot, get some information from you, and then shoot you out a package, a care little, good little care package, like I said, for you and for all of your guests and whatnot, your viewers and listeners and whatnot, man. Take care of you for a bit, get you hooked up, or as I used to say and as I still say, get you connected. But per trademark potential infringement and dealing with fucking people that like to just utilize my slogans, I just say, hit me up.
Right on. That's above and beyond what you had to do. And, thank you. You have a great evening. And
For
it
sure,
was,
bro.
like I said, it was well worth the wait, my friend. Have a
Appreciate
good
it,
one.
man.
And I'll talk to you soon.
For sure. Have a good night, bro. Peace.
Thank you guys very much for tuning in to episode 427. I had a great night. Hopefully you have enjoyed this. Is all I can say about his chat is, there's nothing wrong with a friend protecting a friend. So that being said, you guys hopefully know the deal. Random acts of kindness do save lives. I will repeat that one more time. Random acts of kindness do save lives. With that being said, I'll see you guys in a few minutes in the wormhole. Thank you for tuning in.